Hello students, welcome to your economics class.
I am Mrs. Jenny Shah, and we are doing chapter 1, Palampur.
Sale of surplus farm products. It's not from product, it should have been farm product. Sorry for the mistake. So after the harvesting season is over, each and every farmer gets busy in the sale of his surplus produce. Surplus produces, whatever they produce, they will keep a part that they need to consume as a family. Whatever is required for consumption of their family, they will take that part, and whatever is extra becomes surplus farm produce. So after the harvesting season is over, each and every farmer gets busy in the sale of his surplus produce. The small farmers producing on their small plots of land have little surplus produce to sell in the market. A greater part of their produce is kept aside for their own consumption. Thus, these farmers are only able to take out negligible amount of surplus which does not fetch them sufficient returns. So because they're going to keep a bigger part of the produce for self-consumption, the surplus is very little, and so they are not able to bring sufficient funds in return. Hence, the problem of these farmers with regard to mounting debt, insufficient income, and less employment tends to continue. That means they keep going in that vicious circle. Since they do not earn enough, they cannot even produce enough, as good production requires use of new scientific methods and techniques which small farmers are unable to employ due to their limited resources. Now, in the medium and big farmers, which have sufficiently large production, they earn well from the sale of surplus. A substantial produce of such farmers is taken to the market for sale. This produce is bought in bulk quantities by traders who then sell it in small quantities to shopkeepers that are spread over large areas in many towns and cities. So these large farmers, they have a lot of surplus. This surplus is taken to the market for sale. In the market, it is bought in bulk large quantities by traders, and these traders sell these large quantities in small quantities to different shopkeepers across large towns and cities. From these shopkeepers, the agricultural produce is then purchased by households who are the final consumers. So from these shopkeepers, people like me and you, we buy, and we are the final consumers. This is how food travels before being finally procured by ultimate consumers. After the sale of their surplus production, medium and large farmers earn good return. These earnings are either kept away as savings or they are again invested in the farm in the form of capital. So after they have sold their surplus production, these people get very good returns, these big and large farmers. And what do they do with these returns? They either save it for future or they invest it again in their farm as a capital. This capital could be used to purchase raw materials, which in case of agriculture would be high yielding variety of seeds, good fertilizers, manures, pesticides, etc. to meet other monetary expenses. So they can also invest in their own farm. This constitutes to the working capital of a farmer. Now, a farmer can also invest in his farm by a way of increasing the fixed capital. But to increase the fixed capital, he will have to buy tools like new tractor or a thresher, so that these machines will stay with him for a long period. It is not going to get over in one cropping cycle. Okay. So if you look at fertilizers, manure, pesticides, this is working capital. Okay. So once one cropping season is over, it's going to get over or at least get used up, worn out. But things like a tractor or a thresher will stay with him through all the cropping season, and hence it is going to be called fixed capital. So the medium and large farmers are able to arrange for all their capital requirements from the earnings of their surplus produce and savings. The large and medium farmers also benefit from their earnings and savings by lending to small farmers and agricultural laborers. So they also earn by lending the money to small farmers and laborers. This too gets them good returns, as these people, these large farmers, they lend money at a very high rate of interest. Okay, let me tell you a story about Govardhan Das. Now, Govardhan Das is a big farmer in Palampur. He generates a surplus produce of 480 quintals of rice from his large farms, that his farms measure over 6 hectares of land. Selling it, he generates a handsome income. What does he do of it? He keeps a part of that income in the bank as a recurring deposit. He comfortably meets all the farm expenses and the capital requirements. He even lends some of the income to small farmers like Mohit and Karan to earn interest income. Using his savings, Govardhan Das has brought quite a large number of buffaloes and cows. So he is also going to supplement his income from crop farming with the income of dairy farming. Okay, so dairy farming would be a non-farm activity. We are going to talk about non-farm activities next time. So I'm going to repeat a part of the story for you next time also. All right. So this was the topic of surplus farm products. So farmers have produced wheat on their land, for example, using 3 factors of production. The wheat is harvested and production is complete. What will the farmers do? They will retain a part for self-consumption, sell the surplus. Now, small farmers like Savita and Govind, they will have little surplus because that total production is only very little. Okay. So, medium and large farmers, they will have a larger surplus. All right. Farming activities in Palampur. We already know that farming is the main production activity in Palampur. Okay. And we are going to now look at some non-farm activities. Only 25% of the people working in Palampur and engage in activities that are non-agricultural or other than agriculture. Only 25% of the people working in Palampur engage in such activities. Okay. So whenever you visit any village, you will always find people that are engaged in non-farm activities. It is not pertaining only to Palampur. So what is non-farm activities? They are activities which are not related to farming or agricultural activities. They are not agricultural activities. Non-farming employment is defined as any form of employment other than the farm employment in the type of wage, self or unpaid family labor. None of these are considered as non-farm employment. Okay, so any employment that is other than employment on a farm. So this is just one table which shows us the male and female sector, how they are organized in farm employment and non-farm employment according to the gender. The kind of education that is required for employment. There are many types of non-farm activities. There is dairy, there is small-scale manufacturing, shopkeepers, transport. Besides this, can you think of any other form of non-farm activities? Also, animal husbandry is a non-farm activity. Dairy is a facility for the extraction and processing of animal milk, mostly from goats or cows, but we also extract from buffalo, sheep, and camels for human consumption. People feed their buffaloes on various kinds of grass and jawar and bajra that grow during the rainy season. Dairy is a common activity in many families of Palampur. People are feeding their cattle, they're feeding their animals during with jawar and bajra that grow mainly during the rainy season. And then the milk that they get is sold at Raiganj, that is the nearby large village. Two traders from Shahpur town have also set up some collection and chilling centers, okay, at Raiganj, from where the milk is transported to faraway towns and cities. So from this collection and chilling centers, this milk is now forwarded to other towns and cities. Okay. The milk is sold at the nearby large village. Traders have set up collection and chilling centers from where the milk is transported to faraway towns and cities. More than 40% of Indian farming households are engaged in milk production. In 2001, India became the world leader in milk production with a production volume of 84 million tons. In current scenario, Uttar Pradesh is on top ranking for milk production in India. In India, Operation Flood was a rural development program started by India's National Dairy Development Board in 1970. Operation Flood resulted in making India one of the largest producers of milk and milk products, and so it is also called as White Revolution of India. Amul, the full form is Anand Milk Union Limited, was the company which was behind the success of Operation Flood. Amul was formed in the year 1946. It is based in a town in Gujarat called Anand, and it has been a sterling empire of a cooperative organization success in the long run. Amul spurred the White Revolution of India, which made India the largest producers of milk and milk products in the world. It is also the world's biggest vegetarian cheese brand. Who doesn't like cheese? Yeah. Do you all like Amul better or Britannia better? Let's comment this on this video, just for fun. Amul or Britannia? Or you can put some other also, whichever you like. Next, we come to small scale manufacturing. Small scale manufacturing takes place in a very small scale and simple production methods are used. Less than 50 people of Palampur are engaged in small scale manufacturing. Manufacturing that takes place in big factories, you know, the kind of manufacturing that takes place in big factories in towns and villages and cities is different. We are over here talking of small scale manufacturing that involves very simple production methods. We are looking at very small scale production that are done on a very small scale. They are carried out mostly at home or in the fields with the help of family labor, and very, very rarely are laborers hired. So very few people are employed in the small scale manufacturing in rural India. It involves production of goods mostly by hand or with the help of small machines and tools. So there is one story, that is Mishri Lal. He had produced a mechanical sugarcane crushing machine that ran on electricity, and he set it up on his field. Sugarcane crushing was done with the help of bullocks earlier, but nowadays we have machines. Mishri Lal also buys sugarcane from other farmers and he processes it into jaggery. And this jaggery is then sold to traders in Shahpur. And in this process, Mishri Lal makes a small profit. Okay, so this is one sort of small scale manufacturing. There is one more I'll tell you about. I'll tell you about Ghanshyam. What does he do is he weaves baskets from dry straw obtained from this is the sugarcane machine that Mishri Lal has. Okay. And now we are talking about Ghanshyam. So what does Ghanshyam do is he weaves basket from dry straw that is obtained from the chaff of the wheat produced in his own farm. So this is the waste material from the wheat, and that is the chaff, and from the chaff he is weaving baskets. He and his family had taken to basket weaving 4 years ago. At that time, Palampur had faced a drought condition, and now, after 4 years, all of his family members have become experts at making baskets, trays, mats, and other similar items. The sale of these items is also witnessing a steady increase as they are needed by most of the villagers, not only for household purposes, but also for agricultural produce. To keep their agricultural produce safe, to keep their agricultural produce safely, they require baskets. The income earned from the sale of these items has supplemented Ghanshyam's earning from his small plot of land. He now lives a quiet, comfortable life, and he also saved sufficient amount to buy a cow. That means he will do another non-farm activity in the future, which is dairy. Next is shopkeeping. The trading activities in most of the villages of India are limited. The people are involved in trade. Not many people in Palampur are involved in trade. Traders of Palampur are shopkeepers who buy various goods from wholesalers market and they sell them in the village. You can also see some small general stores in the village that are selling a wide range of items like rice, wheat, sugar, biscuits, soap, toothpaste, toothbrush, batteries, pencils, cloth, shoes, etc. Basically, over there are not different shops selling different things or specialized categories. There is just one or two general shops, and they literally sell everything under the same roof. A few of the families whose houses are close to the bus stand, they use a part of their house to open small shops, and then they sell eatables over here so that they can make some income. Villagers demand tea, oil, biscuits, whatever their needs are from these small general shops. All the needs of the people of Palampur were earlier met by a small time trader in the neighboring town. However, with the development of availability of better means of transport, some villagers have taken to shopkeeping and they began purchasing items of daily use from wholesalers in the city. So earlier there was a trader who used to come and give these items to the villagers, but now a few villagers, because the infrastructure has improved, they go to that city and they buy the daily items that are required and they keep a stock of it in their own shop so that the people in the village can have access to it whenever they require it. Okay, so you can see there's this general store show picture over here where you can see chocolates are sold and there's rice and there is wheat, there are biscuits and there is oil and toothpaste and toothbrush and everything that is generally required is found in this one little small general store. Another non-farm activity is transportation. The modes of transportation in many villages in India have seen steady development. They have progressed from bullock carts and tongas to tractors, jeeps, and trucks. Though bullock carts still continue to be used by many villagers, large and medium farmers nowadays have also purchased cars for their comfort and goods carrier for transportation of their produce. Communicating from village to town for purchasing and selling goods have improved in the villages. Now we can even find rickshaws and tractors, etc. To ferry people and goods from village to town, and in return they get paid for it. So I'll tell you about Kishora over here. He's a farm laborer, and like other laborers, Kishora found it very difficult to make his family needs be completed or fulfilled with the wages that he received. Few years back, Kishora, he took a loan from the bank, and under the government program, which was giving cheap loans to poor landless household, he even bought a buffalo with this money. Okay, now he sells the buffalo milk. That is one dairy non-farm activity. He has also attached a wooden cart to his buffalo and he uses it to transport various items. Once a week, he even goes to River Ganga to bring back clay for the pottery. So he's also a potter. Pottery is another non-farm activity. Sometimes he goes to Shahpur with a load of jaggery or whatever other commodity. And every month he gets some or the other work in transport. And so Kishore is able to earn more than he used to some years ago. This way, Kishore is earning with transport. There's one more farmer called Pawan. So he took a loan from the regional bank against his land and he bought a tractor. Now with the tractor, he transports his agricultural product as well as of other farmers to the cities. On his way back, he picks up supplies of daily necessities for the shopkeepers in Palampur, and his business has taken off very well, and the income earned by him because of this transportation is quite a handsome amount. He has not only paid off his loan, but he's also planning to buy another tractor, that also with his own saving. This is how transport helps as a non-farm activity to increase the production, income, and capital of a farmer. These were the two examples. One bought a bullock and one bought a tractor. These are some other transport systems that are found in the villages. Another one is animal husbandry. Animal husbandry is the breeding, feeding, and management of animals, especially for the production of food or fiber. So it includes draught animals like horse, mule, ox, etc. These animals are used for various agricultural purposes like pulling loads as well as for transportation, leisure, and sport. Then we have sheep and goats. These are reared for many purposes. Sheep are used for wool, meat, and even for milk to a smaller extent. Goats are primarily used for milk only. Cattle is used for beef, dairy, both the purposes. Cattle rearing refers to domestication, raising, and maintenance of various farm animals. Hens, chickens, ducks, turkeys are also reared for meat and eggs. So these were some non-farm activities that the farmers can engage in to increase their income and savings. In most villages in India, non-farm activities account for a very small percentage of the overall production activity. Greater development of village, there has to be an upsurge. If you want the village to develop, you have to upsurge, you have to increase the amount or the percentage of people engaging in non-farm activities. Currently, in Palampur, only 25, a little less than 25% of people have been engaged. So with this, I end the chapter today.
Students, the chapter has come to an end. Next class, we shall discuss the question and answers of this chapter. I would request you to solve them and keep them ready so that when we discuss, you can write down the missing points, or if you have a wrong answer, you can correct it. So students, thank you. Stay home, stay safe, keep smiling.